Shalom, Yashrala. It's your brother Dawud Daw from GMS Tampa Bay 07, coming at you with another video. First and foremost, I want to say all praises unto Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushua, double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone that rule well, and salutations to Yakin pushing his truth and sincerity on the four corners of the earth. All right, I want to get into this here quick lesson. Basically, this is dealing with, for lack of a better terms, the Illuminati or their New World Order, more or less to say, more or less, pretty much more or less the New World Order they got going planned, and how this is pretty much described in the scriptures, So we're going to just jump right on into it. This is the book of Genesis, chapter 11, verse 1. And the whole earth was of one language and of one speech. Okay? And it came to pass, as they journeyed from the east, they found a plain in the land of Shinar, and they dwelt there. And they said one to another, "Go, let us make brick and burn them thoroughly." And they had brick for stone, and slime had they for mortar. And they said, "Go, let us build us a city and a tower, whose top may reach unto heaven, and let us make us a name, lest we be scattered abroad upon the face of the whole earth." Okay. Verse 5. And Yahweh came down to see the city and the tower which the children of men builded. Okay. So basically, these people here, they were saying, "Look, let us make a city and a tower which you can reach up to heaven." But more or less, what we want to get into, it says, "Let us make us a name, lest we be scattered abroad upon the face of the earth." So these people coming together and saying, "Look, let us make us a name," or let me give it to you in a better example. Instead of saying, "Look, we got 5 different countries named A, B, C, D, E," instead of saying that, we're going to just, y'all drop y'all names, we're going to come together as one name and be one unit, all together, all conglomerate as one, Verse 6, and Yahweh said, "Behold, the people is one, and they have all one language, and this they begin to do, and now nothing will be restrained from them which they imagine to do." Okay? And that's really the abomination that, first of all, is in rebellion with what the Most High said. The Most High then gave, the different nations. First of all, He created different nations. Then He gave them their own land and possession, and He gave them all their style and their individuality, that type of stuff, But it says, in verse 6, Yahweh said, "Behold, the people is one. They all have one language, and this they begin to do, and now nothing will be restrained from them which they imagine to do." Okay? Now they use the phrase in here, the people is one. They all have one language, And a lot of the Christians like to say, the Father, the Holy Ghost, and the Son, they are all one, Being in their terms, they all the same person, But no, that's not what they're talking about when they use this phrase, And if you try to put this in the real world, it would make sense in any other way. It's just that it's more or less like a Jedi mind trick. You got to make something that ain't there, appear there that ain't there, All the McDonald's that you see, they all as one. They all together. They all got the same red and yellow sign that say McDonald's, They all sell Coke products, They all got a Big Mac, They all together as one. But do they have different owners? Yes, they have different owners. But they all sell the same thing. They all, okay, being not one with McDonald's would be like, okay, you got a McDonald's and you got a Pizza Hut. Pizza Hut and McDonald's, they not one. But the McDonald's in my city and the McDonald's in your city, they won, because if I go from my city to your, not saying that you should eat McDonald's, I don't eat McDonald's, you shouldn't eat McDonald's. But let's say if I eat McDonald's all day, every day over where I'm at, and I always go there and I order the number 6. Whatever the number 6 is, and I go over to where you at, you know what I'm saying? The number 6 is still going to be the same number 6 that I get over here, It's going to be cooked about the same, taste about the same, everything going to be about the same. They all together as one, They all together, And on one accord, there you go, in layman's terms. They're all on one accord. The water, Abadia. In layman's term. Um, so basically, it says the people is one. They all have one language, and this they begin to do. And again, the abomination with that being one is, like in American terms, they don't want you to have a so-called dictator because, look, that one dictator could sit there and tell everybody else to do something, and, they don't have no, how do you say, no other option. Put it this way, I'll give you a real example. Once they was to get the little things they got going on, their new world order in place, right? You wouldn't have cities, states, nothing like that. You wouldn't have countries. It'd be borderless. Everybody would all have one thing. Right now in the Middle East, predominantly they worship the Islamic religion. Over here in America, they practice Christianity. And you have a diversity. You got these people want to do this, those people want to do that. But let's say if this is speaking to none of the Israelites, none of the sincere, hopeful elect. But let's say you wanted to be a so-called Christian, here in America, and all of a sudden these Arabs came over and wanted to try to force onto you their religion. You wouldn't like that. So you want to have your own so-called individuality or your own freedom to do whatever. However, if you got one person making one rule over every damn body, like, the enterprise they trying to get going, this is the abomination of that. I always say I don't want nothing free. I don't want no handout from none of y'all, because if, let's say, the government, in their plan they have planned to do, in your so-called future, you would not own nothing. You wouldn't have no money. You would have money, but you wouldn't really go to work. Everybody would get a what they call a universal. I forgot what they call it, universal income. Everybody's gonna get a paycheck. The rich, the poor, everybody gonna get the same paycheck. But with that same paycheck, you're going to want to buy services. You're not going to own anything, So when everybody is one, more, let's just say, it's like, I got my house. My house is painted this color. Your house is painted that color. You got what you got going on. But when we live in an apartment, our apartment building is painted all the same, Or when we live in a deed restricted neighborhood, we all have to have certain things together, more or less to say. I can't, have a yard that's overgrown and this is not. All the houses have to look so-called neat or whatever. They all have to be in accord with one another, But again, the evil part about all of this is when you have one person over top of everybody, for example, they want to put this RFID chip in you over here in America. Let's just say that's what they want to do just here in America. And you wanted to avoid that. Okay, well, let me go move to, let's say, Mexico. But if you had everybody on one accord and everybody doing one thing under a one-person system, it don't matter where you go, because it's going to have that one man's rule everywhere. And if that one man is one evil man over top of you, then you really can't go nowhere, Verse 8. So Yahweh scattered them from thence upon the face of all the earth, and they left off to build the city. Therefore the name of it became Babel, because Yahweh did confound the language of all the earth, and from thence did Yahweh scatter them abroad upon the face of the earth. Okay? And so, basically he separated them again. The Most High is a separatist, He don't believe in integration. He believe in basically separation, separating people. Everybody's always talking about coming together. We should all come together and get along, and Jesus wants us all to love and come together. No, maybe Jesus do, but we're talking about Yahweh and His Son Yahushua. And they won. They on one accord, Yahushua, he said he don't do nothing unless, basically, he only doing what the Father's doing, or I command him to do. If Yahweh, like this, then Yahushua like that. It's like you growing up in your household. Your favorite foods is gonna be the foods that your parents was cooking when you was growing up. You ain't gonna grow up in a house, let's say, in Mexico, only eating so-called Mexican food all day long, and that's the only thing you've ever been introduced to. You're not gonna just randomly like spaghetti, because you ain't never had that, But the Most High, the Most High was like, look, we gonna scatter y'all. We're gonna, give you your own land and your own possession. People talk about this as if it's something bad, but really, You might want your own stuff, Ask anybody this question, whenever people talk about coming together and loving, everybody should all come together and be as one. Be like, all right, how about this? How about you go move in with somebody that you don't like in the same house under the same roof? Like, nah, and in the same bedroom, You be like, nah, I want my own room. I want my own house. I want my own car. You want all of this? That's separating. You want to be a separatist, Why don't everybody just carpool all in the same car? You might not like the music they playing in their car. This person might ride with the AC on full blast and you super cold. Or their AC might not work and you super hot, This person might just ride with the windows down all the time, and you don't like that because your hair might be blowing all throughout the spot, Everybody got their own little thing. This is why they do all, do things differently. But yet, with their lips, they'll say some foolishness like, no, we should all come together. Okay, well, let us all come together. We all wear the same clothes, all eat the same thing, all on the same date. This is not how the Most High wanted us all to be, But Esau, in his mind, he gonna try to recreate everything in his own way, in his own image, But this is basically getting into the whole backdrop of how they want things to be. They want things to be, everybody all together as one. So instead of controlling a whole bunch of different people, all they have to do is control one big group, You don't have to worry about what these 35,000 different groups of people are doing. You only got one group to manage. And you teach this one group, they're going to all follow, They so-called like consolidating a little power all into one. All right. Next script. This is the book of Daniel, chapter 2. Now, in this, we're going to skip around. I'm getting straight to the point here. In the book of Daniel now, get a little bit of context here. Where is it? Right. All right. So in the book of Daniel, this is the book of Daniel chapter 2. Now what's going on here is you got Nebuchadnezzar. He had a dream, right? And Nebuchadnezzar wanted to understand the interpretation of the dream. So it says, here's the context here. This is Daniel chapter 2, verse 5. The king answered and said unto the Chaldeans, the thing is gone from me. If ye will not make it known unto me the dream with the interpretation thereof, you shall be cut into pieces, and your house shall be made dunghill. But if you will show me the dream and the interpretation thereof, you shall receive of me gifts, reward, and great honor. Therefore show me the dream and interpretation thereof. Okay? So, again, Nebuchadnezzar had this dream, and he wanted to know the interpretation of it. So he called his wise men and basically the real wise men of Babylon, come tell him what the dream was, But basically nobody could give him the interpretation of the dream. So they told him that there was one named Daniel who could tell him what the interpretation was. So he sent for Daniel, and Daniel was going to tell him the interpretation of the dream. Now, when he had this dream, he saw this big statue, and we're going to just jump basically into Daniel breaking down what this here statue was, okay? This is Daniel chapter 2, verse 36. This is the dream, and we will tell you the interpretation thereof before the king. Now, when you read in here, Nebuchadnezzar actually didn't even tell Daniel what the dream was. He was like, look, tell me what the dream was, and then you also tell me what the dream means, Gave him a real big feat, because anybody could so-called try to interpret somebody's dream, which they tell you, Like I had a dream last night about fish, and they was floating backwards, If I was to tell you that, you'd be like, okay, well, the fish meant this, them floating backwards meant that, you could try to come up with it and make it your own thing. But for you to be like, all right, I had a dream last night, I want you to tell me what the dream was and tell me what it is, Really let me see your powers, This is basically what was going on here. It says, verse 36 again, this is the dream, and we will tell the interpretation therefore before the king. Verse 37, thou, O king, art a king of kings, for Yahweh of heaven hath given thee a kingdom, power and strength and glory. And wheresoever the children of man dwell, the beasts of the field and the fowls of the heaven hath he given unto thy hand, and have made thee ruler over them all. Thou art the head of gold. And after thee shall arise another kingdom inferior unto thee, and another third kingdom of brass, which shall bear rule over all the earth. And the fourth kingdom shall be strong as iron, for as much as iron breaketh in pieces, and subdueth all things, and as iron that breaketh all these, shall it break into pieces and bruise. Okay? And whereas thou sawest the feet and the toes, part of potter's clay, and part iron, the kingdom shall be divided, and there shall be in it of the strength of iron, for as much as thou sawest the iron mixed with miry clay. Now we're going to break that down. But up above all of that, he's basically just telling them about the different kingdoms. There was this huge statue. Now, if you go on Google and Google search Daniel's dream, right? And they'll have an image basically of a big statue, and they'll show you how it's separated so you can actually see a visualization of this, But they was telling you about the different kingdoms. You had the Babylonian kingdom, the Medo-Persian kingdom, the Greco-Roman Babylonian kingdom, more or less to say, because that's what we're getting into here. The fourth kingdom shall be strong as iron, for as much as iron breaketh in pieces and subdueth all things, as iron that breaketh all these, shall it break in pieces and bruise. And whereas thou sawest the feet, the toes, part of potter's clay, and part of iron, the kingdom shall be divided. But there shall be in it the strength of iron, for as much as thou sawest iron mixed with miry clay. And the toes and the feet were part of iron and part of clay, so the kingdom shall be partly strong and partly broken. And whereas thou sawest the iron mixed with miry clay, they shall mingle themselves with the seed of men, but they shall not cleave to one another, even as iron does not mix with clay. Okay? Now, all of that is basically talking about that fourth kingdom, which, it was, let me see, it don't quite say it here, but, when you get down to the legs, you got the two different legs, and they make distinctions between, part this, part that, and the different toes and stuff like that. These are all different smaller branches and stuff like that. But what that's all talking about in a nutshell is basically Esau. When Esau had his power from basically Greece, Rome, and then you had Rome basically fell off, and then they came back and they European conquered, when they came back as the Europeans and stuff like that. And, up until this day, So, and it says, but they shall not cleave one to another, even as iron is not mixed with clay, So nowadays you have the so-called white people, and before that you had the Scottish, the British, and all these people, this and that. Really, they all the same people, But then again, like, they all one people, but then again, sometimes they don't have, one accord with all things, like how you see Brexit happening, This, basically, that's a whole other lesson. That's what they going into, But, part iron, part clay, and it should be partly strong and partly broken, This is what's going on, instead of them always being on one accord with one another because they the same people, sometimes they be going against one another sometimes, like Russia and America, they not quite on the same accord, but at the same time, that's prophesied in the scriptures that that's supposed to happen, But when you're dealing with like the EU and the European countries and America, more or less, to say they're not always on the same terms as one another. Sometimes we do things that Germany don't like, and Germany do things that we don't really give a damn what any of the other countries do or don't do. Here in America, it's either you're gonna do what we're gonna say you're gonna do, or there's gonna be repercussions that you just don't want to deal with. But verse 44, and in the days of these kings shall Yahweh of heaven set up a kingdom which shall never be destroyed. And the kingdom shall not be left to another people, but it shall break in pieces and consume all these kingdoms, and it shall stand forever. That's talking about the kingdom of heaven, basically. All right, here's where we want to get into. For as much as thou sawest the stone was cut of the mountain without hands, that it break in pieces the iron, the brass, and the clay, silver, the gold, and the silver and the gold, the great God hath made known to the kings which shall come to pass hereafter, and the dream is certain, and interpretation thereof is sure. Okay, so we're going to jump up a little bit to get context of that stone, because we want to talk about that for a second. All right, verse 34. All right, we're going to jump up a little bit to give you the whole deal. Daniel 2:31. Thou, King, sawest, and behold, a great image. This great image, whose brightness was excellent, stood before thee, and the form thereof was terrible. The image head was of fine gold, his breast and his arms of silver, his belly and his thighs of brass, his legs of iron, and his feet part of iron and part of clay. Okay? Part strong, part kind of soft, you know. America real strong, you know, but you got other people like those other the rest of the EU, you know. Some of them ain't so strong over there. Some of them is nowhere near as strong as as America is, you know. This is verse 34. Thou sawest till that a stone was cut out without hands. Okay, so without being a stone being cut out without hands, being like no man basically made this stone. You know, if you see a stone, you pick up a regular rock. You know, a regular rock is pretty much formed basically by the Most High. You know, it ain't necessarily like somebody then carved out of that stone and made a statue. More or less to say, a statue would be a stone that would be cut with hands, meaning man designed it. You know, this is giving you the example that this ain't of man. This is, of the Most High. You know, that's just what it is. You know, it says, thou sawest till a stone was cut without hands, which smote the image upon his feet, that were of iron and clay, and break them into pieces. Then was the iron and the clay, the brass, the silver, the gold broken into pieces together, and became like the shaft of the summer threshing floor. The wind carried them away, that no place was found for them. The stone that smote the image became a great mountain, and filled the whole earth. Okay? Now, again, that's that little small stone, you know, it's basically it's talking about when Yahushua returns, you know, and breaks down this new world order that they got going on, you know, because this is what they trying to get, you know. Now, getting back to this here statue, you had each, you know, it says the image head was of fine gold. Okay, this is one portion, you know, this is one kingdom. The arms and his arms was another part. His belly was another part. His belly and his thighs was another part. Then his legs was another part, you know. So you see in different kingdoms and different things happen, you know, different character. Well, not here, but further on, they describe you the same thing again, but then they describe certain characteristics of these different kingdoms that will rule the earth, you know. But you have these 4 different kingdoms, more or less to say, that make up the timeline of the rulership of the earth, the main people who will be ruling the earth, right? But at the same time, you have the whole image as a whole, okay? Now that whole image as a whole, not just talking about the feet, because, you know, Esau is dealing with the feet right now, the feet, the legs, the toes, and all that stuff. He's dealing with that right now in his current condition. But when he so-called goes to the next level and go on to his next so-called rulership of him having his so-called New World Order, into that little phase, that's when he's going to take upon the whole stature, you know. Because as you know, here in America, America is known as spiritually Egypt and Sodom, right? Taking on the customs of Egypt with the slavery and Sodom with the sodomy or the homosexuality. As you can see on the earth, they spreading this so-called democracy upon the face of the earth, you know. That's their so-called next phase, is for them to take what they have here in America, and the things that they govern with just their people and spread it on the whole earth, you know, spread it amongst all the kingdoms of the earth. That would become this whole statue, you know, because like, and when we read about the stone falling, the stone didn't fall upon the feet. Now, none of these kingdoms would be, how do you say, in place when another kingdom was there. You wouldn't have the head and the feet together at the same time, both kingdoms ruling. No, you're gonna have the head first, and the breast, the shoulders, and the arms come next. You know, then you got the belly, the thighs, and all that come next. You know, and then on down. But the statue as a whole, you know, is pretty much all these kingdoms rolled up into one. You know, and that's basically Babylon on 1,000. You know, you got Babylon. You know, it's bad is how Babylon is bad. You know, Babylon is already bad, but once Babylon starts spreading this Babylon juice throughout the whole earth, like they say in Revelations, this is basically the great whore who made all the kings of the earth drunk with her basically her abominations and her fornications, you know. But nevertheless, that whole statue, you know, that whole statue is their whole enterprise. Once they get all the different how do you say, the previous kingdoms, and, you know, merge them all together into one, you know. That's going to be that one big statue. That's their whole new world order, you know. All of them all combined, not just the bottom half, because, like I said, the bottom half is just dealing with them and their power right now as they trying to go forth and conquer the whole entire earth, you know. Let's jump to our next scripture. The book of Job. We're going to just get to the point. Job 5:12. He disappointeth the devices of the crafty. Okay? So, the Most High is disappointing. Now, the device is something that, you know, somebody's plan, you know. You know, they devising a scheme, you know, or they got a device to do something, you know. If I need to take a screw out, you know, I'm going to use a device to do that, okay? My plan on taking that out is going to be using the screwdriver. The screwdriver is my device. Or also, look, we got our devices to chip everybody and turn their damn chips off to kill their ass, you know? This is they device, you know? He disappointed the device of the crafty. You know, Esau is very crafty. So that their hands cannot perform their enterprise, okay? And, again, when you, let me go into this word, but it's talking about a plan, you know? Boom. So, their wisdom, their sound knowledge, success, sound, efficient wisdom, abiding success, sound, efficient wisdom, same going on, okay? From an unused root, probably meaning to substantiate, support, by implication, ability to help, and undertaking an intellectual understanding, an enterprise, an intellectual understanding, that which is things as it is. Okay? So, your intellectual, intellectual understanding, let's go back. Boom. The thought, device, plan, purpose, thought. Okay? Their plan is to go with their little wisdom, and their wisdom that they have is basically like we read about in the Tower of Babel, you know? They want to have that big statue. They want to have everybody ruled up under them, you know? They want to have the dominion to put their so-called wisdom out. You see it happening right now. They spreading this LGBTQ shit all over the whole globe, you know? They're not just happy with it being in their own household. No, they got to take it out to their neighborhood town hall meeting, and then they got to take it up to the, you know, county, and then they got to take it up to state. Now they got to take it up to the United States. And now they got to take it over international and around the whole globe, you know? It says, he disappointed the devices of the crafty, so that their hands cannot perform their enterprise. Okay, that's that small that small stone that was that came down and smashed that image, you know. He taketh the wise in their own craftiness, the counsel of the forward is carried headlong. Okay. So again, you know, these people, this is they plan. This is how you say that this counsel that they devised, and you know, they trying to get basically that Tower of Babel going back on all over again. But let me show you what the Most High say He's gonna do about that though. Book of Job. Right here. Might just read all of this. This will be actually we're gonna just jump to the point because of time's sake. Nah, we're gonna read this off because there's some more reading. Alright, this is Job chapter 20, verse 2. No, verse 4. Knowing thou not this of old, since man was placed upon the earth, that the triumphing of the wicked is short, but the joy of the hypocrite but for a moment. Okay? So, you know, the brothers are sitting the truth right now, you know, and, you know, the sincere brothers, men of the Lord, you know, they understand what's going on in the times we're in. Yeah, we catching hell right now, you know, and things like that, but, you know, we catching L's all day while Esau over there winning. But it says the triumphant of the wicked is short. And the joy of the hypocrite but for a moment. So, you know, it might seem like, oh man, we just going through all this hell for so long, but really it's just a short amount of time. You know, he ain't even been in rulership that long, and he's not going to actually have his so-called new world order in place very long, if long at all. You know, it says though his excellency mount up to heaven, and his head reaching to the clouds, you know, this motherfucker lifted up. You know, yet he shall perish forever like his own dung. They that see him shall say, where is he? Okay. Basically, the Most High just, you know, the Most High real game. He get it in, you know. He said you gonna perish forever like your own dung, you know. If you could remember, if you could describe, you know, if you could have put a name tag or try to track your last piece of, not your last piece of shit, but the time you shitted 2 weeks ago, last Thursday, if you could remember where that shit is and where it went and all this type of stuff, you done long forgot about that shit. Long time ago. You don't even think about that. You don't even think about the last shit that you had, you know? Basically, this is what he's talking about, what's going to happen to Esau. You know, he's going to be gone like that shit. Once you flush it, you don't even think about it no more, you know? He shall fly away as a dream and shall not be found. Yea, he shall be chased away as a vision of the night. The eyes also which saw him shall see him no more, neither shall his place any more behold him. Okay? So, you know, that's talking about, you know, how Esau's going to basically get eradicated after a while, you know. Most High going to put him into slavery for 1,000 years, and he's going to just, you know, basically just get rid of all of them. He's not going to leave no root nor branch, you know. It says he shall fly away as a dream and shall not be found, you know. You know, like when you wake up, you're like, damn, I was having a dream about something, but I can't even remember what the dream was. There's no way where you can hit the rewind button, try to take notes. Nothing that you can do about it. That dream gone, long gone. You ain't gonna ever catch it again. Same is gonna be with Esau. His children shall seek to please the poor, and his hand shall restore their goods. Okay. Now his children try to seek to please the poor right now. You know, when we out on the highways and the byways, some of them might come by and they little craftiness and say they sorry this and that, but you know, none of that's gonna help. But his hands shall restore their goods. Why? When they out there doomsday prepping and getting all this food and all this stuff, you know, they actually getting that all together for us. You know, they're gonna wind up become starving. And we're gonna wind up eating. You know, the Most High say, look, you're gonna dig down into hell, but yeah, I'm gonna bring you there. You know, you're gonna try to mount up to heaven, but I'm gonna bring you down. You're gonna try to hide in the rocks of Mount Carmel, but look. I would up catching your ass, you know. It says, his bones are full of sin from his youth, which shall lie down with him in dust, you know. Even from the beginning, man, Esau said he was trying to kill us, you know, before Isaac passed away, you know. Though wickedness be sweet in his mouth, though he hide it under his tongue, though he spare it and forsake it not, but keep it still within his mouth. Yet his meat in his bowels is turned, it is gall of the asp within him. He has swallowed down, and this is the point here, he has swallowed down riches, and he shall vomit them up again. Yahweh shall cast them out of his belly. So the riches he didn't swallow down is him pillaging the whole planet Earth, you know, as he's going around the planet Earth and taking everybody's resources, this and that, and their land and everything like that, you know. He basically is in control of the whole earth, you know, like in Job, it says, look, the earth is given into the hands of the wicked, you know. He's in rulership over everything, so he's taking everybody, everything. And it says, he has swallowed down riches, and he shall vomit them up again, you know. He wound up taking everything from everybody, but he going to wind up giving all that back up. Like we read in a previous video about the forces of the Gentiles being converted over unto us, and how our gates aren't going to be closed. They're going to be continually open because of the forces of the Gentiles flowing unto us, you know. That's going to be him continually throwing up all the things he done took away from us, you know. It says, he swallowed down riches, and he shall vomit it up again. Yahweh shall cast them out of his belly. He shall suck the poison of aspen, and the viper's tongue shall slay him. He shall not see the rivers, the floods, the brooks of honey and butter. That which he labored for shall he restore, and shall not swallow it down. According to his substance shall the restitution be. He shall not rejoice therein. So all the killing and stealing and raping and robbing and murdering that he been doing, he got to pay all that back. He gonna wind up giving all of that back up, you know. All that hard work he been doing and setting all this back up, he got to pay for all of that, you know. Verse 19, because he have oppressed and have forsaken the poor, because he violently taken away a house which he buildeth not, surely he shall not feel quietness in his belly. He shall not save that which he desired. You know, it's just like you go out and you go drinking and you having a good time and you drinking this and that, you getting all that alcohol in you. That alcohol ain't gonna stay inside of you. That alcohol ready to come back up. You didn't do all that drinking for nothing. Now you just stuck with a fucked up stomach, a fucked up headache, and you throwing up all over the place. You'd have wasted a whole bunch of money that you just basically throwing right back up, and it's going to go into the toilet or on the ground, wherever it may be, and it's going to be flushed or left right where it's at, you know? Surely he shall not feel quietness in his belly. He shall not save of that which he desired. Okay, all the stuff he's stockpiling, all that's going to come to naught. All the stuff he putting up and doomsday prepping, all that's going to be ran through. There shall none of his meat be left. Therefore shall no man look for his goods. In the fullness of his sufficiency he shall be in straits. Every hand of the wicked shall come upon him. So here we go. In the fullness of his sufficiency, you know, that's basically talking about right when he getting his new world order right into play, you know. As soon as he get that microchip in place, you know, and as soon as you got everybody chipped and he ready to convert his system over into the new system, this is going to be the time. It says, in the fullness of his sufficiency, he shall be in straits. Every hand of the wicked shall come upon him. When he is about to fill his belly, Yahweh shall cast the fury upon his wrath, the fury of his wrath upon him, and he shall rain it upon him while he is eating. So again, right when he get everybody that he want to get chipped, and he's thinking, I'm lunching right now. I got everything all good, everything going right on the plan. When he know it not, that's gonna be his time. That's the time of his end, you know. Like I said in a previous video, you know, you can discern the times from things going on around you, you know. when you see him getting this system near complete or damn near complete, you know it's time to go, because the Most High done already said that, you know. He said, when he is about to fill his belly, Yahweh shall cast the fury of his wrath upon him, okay? And also in the fullness of his sufficiency. Once he get this here game plan ready to go, you know, you done just built your new car from ground up, painted it, washed it, waxed it, and everything, and you ready to go. You done got in the car, sat down, adjusted the mirrors, now you done put the key in the ignition. But as soon as you turn that key over, you know, your car gonna explode, you know. He shall flee from the iron weapon, and the bow of steel shall strike him through. You know, this is getting into the nukes. Oh, we'll just read it just for edification. He shall flee from the iron weapon, and the bow of steel shall strike him through. It is drawn and cometh out of the body. Yea, the glittering sword cometh from out of his gall, tears are upon him. Okay? Now this is gonna be saved for a different lesson describing these ICBM missiles, these nuclear bombs, but here's a clear cut, you know. It says he shall flee from the iron weapon, and the bow of steel shall strike him through, you know. What sense does it make to have a iron or a steel bow and arrow? You know, it ain't gonna really fly too hard, and you ain't gonna be able to pull it back to break it, you know. It says, it is drawn, it cometh out of the body. Okay, what is the body that it come out of? That missile silo, you know. That's the body that's holding that sword, you know. The glittering sword, okay, cometh out of his gall, tears are upon him, and darkness shall be hid in his secret place. A fire not blown shall consume him. It shall go ill with him that is left in his tabernacle. Yeah, they're gonna get melted away by these they're gonna get hit with these ICBM missiles, and the ones that's left over, they're going into slavery. You know, to these elites. The heavens shall reveal his iniquity, and the earth shall rise up against him. And you see that's what's happening right now with this internet. These videos is going out right now. You know, we exposing Esau and all the things that's going on with him. The increase of his house shall depart, and his goods shall flow away in the day of wrath. This is the portion of a wicked man from Yahweh, and the heritage appointed to him by Yahweh. Okay? So, you know, just, you know, dealing with the wicked being Esau, you know, Esau's the border of wickedness. This is how Esau's end is going to come, you know. This is how his end is going to wind up being. Right when he's getting his enterprise filled, you know. This is how you can look at the times that we in and measuring the times diligently. Like I you know, was saying, you know, you got to measure the times diligently. That was in a prior video, but, you know, when you start to see these things come to pass, you're going to see these things going, you know, and blessed is he that readeth. When you know these things, the prophecies and the prophecies in the order of the things to come, you can easily measure all these things, you know. And when you start to see him get this mark of the beast and this microchip put together, and everybody, or he's consolidating all his systems to become one solid system to rule and govern everything from that system, then you know the end time is here, you know. As soon as he go ahead and hit that activate switches, that's when everything gonna fall on him, you know. It says, in the fullness of his sufficiency, you know. He shall be in straits, every hand of the wicked shall come upon him when he's about to fill his belly. You know, right when he's about to get full, he about to get that little sour look in his face and sit back and feel his stomach rumble, and then that's when he about to start throwing everything up, you know. And that's when salvation is right there at hand, you know. When he's throwing it up, the reason he'll be throwing it up is because the Lord's going to be coming back and making him throw it up, basically. So, you know, how you can measure the times in that sound, you know. But with that, Lord, this video was edifying. You know, I want to say, call halal Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shah. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of great millstone and rule well. And salutations to you, I can push the truth and sincerity on the four corners of the earth. Until next time, Shalom.